EF Self-Healing, a guide to internal family systems therapy. Introduction. The family you didn't know you had. Close your eyes for a moment, or if you're driving, just let your shoulders drop an inch and keep listening. I want you to think back to the last time you did something you didn't mean to do. Maybe you snapped at someone you love over something small. Maybe you promised yourself you'd stop checking your phone at midnight and then found yourself scrolling anyway, hating it the whole time. Maybe you sat down to start something important, and before you even noticed it happening, you were reorganizing a drawer instead. In that moment, did it feel like you chose that? Or did it feel like something else, some other version of you, took the wheel for a minute, did its thing, and then handed control back, leaving you to clean up? If that sounds familiar, I have good news. You are not broken, you are not weak, and you are not secretly sabotaging your own life. You are, in fact, behaving exactly the way every human mind behaves. Because here's the idea this book is built on, and it is one of the most liberating ideas I know. You are not one person. You are a family, not a metaphorical family, not a cute turn of phrase, an actual, functioning internal system made up of different parts, each with its own feelings, its own memories, its own fears, and its own job to do. Some parts of you are cautious planners. Some are fierce protectors. Some are old wounds still waiting, patiently or not so patiently, to be noticed. And underneath all of them, quieter but never gone, is something else. A calm, clear center that was there before any of your parts had to start working so hard. This approach to understanding the mind is called internal family systems, or IFS, and it was developed by the psychologist Richard Schwartz after he noticed something remarkable in his clients. They kept describing their inner lives using the same word unprompted over and over. Part. A part of me wants this. A part of me is terrified of that. It was as if the mind itself was asking to be understood this way. This book is going to walk you through that internal family, one member at a time. We'll meet the ones who work overtime trying to keep you safe through control and criticism. We'll meet the ones who show up in emergencies, reckless and desperate, trying to put out fires however they can, and end carefully, gently. When the time is right, we'll meet the ones who have been hurt. The young, tender parts that the rest of your system has been guarding for years, sometimes for decades. Here is what makes this approach different from almost anything else you may have tried. Nothing about you needs to be defeated. There is no enemy inside you. Not the harsh inner critic, not the part that binges or numbs or picks fights, not even the part that sometimes wants to disappear entirely. Every single one of them, IFS insists, is doing a job it once believed was necessary to keep you alive, emotionally, socially, sometimes literally. The critic isn't cruel for no reason. It's terrified of what happens if you're not perfect. The part that scrolls at midnight isn't lazy. It's exhausted and looking for the only relief it knows how to find. These parts became extreme because life asked too much of them, too early. Our work isn't to fight them. It's to get to know them. And beneath all of that noise and effort is something in you that has never been damaged. IFS calls it simply the self. Not a part, not a role, not a personality, but the essential you that is capable of calm, of curiosity, of compassion, of courage. You felt it before, even if only in flashes. The moment you held a crying friend and knew exactly what to say. The stillness right before you made a hard decision that turned out to be the right one. That was self. It was never something you had to build. It was only ever something you had to uncover. So here is how we'll spend our time together. This is not a workbook you'll set aside half finished with a guilty conscience. It's a story, your story, really, told back to you through the lens of a framework that has helped hundreds of thousands of people make peace with themselves. In the chapters ahead, you'll meet composite characters facing struggles you'll likely recognize. The woman who cannot stop apologizing. The man who explodes at his children and hates himself for it. The young professional who numbs a Sunday night dread with 3 hours of television she doesn't even enjoy. Through their stories, you'll start to recognize your own parts, not as flaws to eliminate, but as family members you're finally getting the chance to sit down with. Each chapter ends with a simple takeaway, something small enough to carry with you into an ordinary Tuesday, because healing, in this model, was never meant to happen only in a therapist's office or in a single breakthrough moment. It happens in the small, repeated choice to get curious instead of critical, to listen instead of silence, to lead instead of react. You have spent a long time, maybe your whole life, thinking that the goal was to fix yourself, to get rid of the parts that cause you trouble. I want to offer you something different. The goal was never to become someone else. It was to come home to who you already are, underneath it all. Let's begin.